Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric and Chad here with Iraq Veteran 8888. Today we got another Gun Gripe episode for you. This one is a hotly requested topic. Today's Gun Gripe is called Call to Action. Hotly.
Woo.
That's right. So this is about call to action. You know, you guys are probably aware that there's been a very, very significant change in the political stratum of this country, and gun owners are no longer truly on the defensive. We are now in a position where we can go on the offensive and really start to tackle some of these bogus gun laws that we've been putting up with straight up front and center. There's actually some petitions right now that are in that you guys can definitely get your butt over there and sign.
Well, I think, it was surprising because these petitions have been going around for a little while, like the repeal the NFA petition, and we'll talk about it more in a minute, but
sure.
Like all these people posting it and everything, all these people sharing it, and it was like 2,300 signatures, it was like 2,600 signatures, 2,650 signatures. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, so you sign it, but then you've got to go and confirm your email. I think that a lot of people aren't confirming their email.
That's right.
So that might be something. They're just not going through the whole process, but
that's right.
It's got to have more signatures than that.
You know, the whole, I guess, crux of this video, too, is there is a gripe aspect to it. Is he and I were discussing earlier, like, basement activism.
Hotly discussing it.
Exactly, and guys that will talk the talk, but they won't walk the walk when it comes to actually initiating and grassroots activism. The NRA is a really good example of that coming full swing. Like they pull the resources, they get organized, they do the research, and when they want to tackle something, they get everybody together, and then we all call our elected representatives, and we make sure that our voices are heard, and we don't put up with it. So supporting the NRA is a great way to support grassroots activism, because a lot of their grassroots efforts are directly responsible for a lot of really awesome things going through that benefit gun ownership.
Well, don't forget, there's a lot of other small grassroots organizations locally all around the country that you can be a part of on a state level even. But the NRA is just the largest lobbying group in the country for gun rights. So it makes sense, to be a part of that and to pay attention to what the NRA is putting out as far as anything political coming up, gun ban scares, that sort of thing. They will make it really easy for you to contact your local elected representatives by a chart on there. You can go through and select your state, and then you select your representative, and then it basically generates an email, and you just sign it, and there it is. It's done. And then that elected official knows that that's your stand on that particular topic.
That's right.
It's really, really simple.
That's right.
Couldn't be any easier.
Well, the whole thing, we've been getting a lot of comments from people about the petitions, and petitions are great. You should definitely sign a petition if you think it's something that really matters to you a lot. 100,000 signatures, guys, is nothing. By tonight, we should be able to have that. All right, guys? Simple. Get on there and sign the dang petitions. There's two of them. One of them is to repeal yourself. Repeal the NFA, and the other one is to repeal the Hughes Amendment. The Hughes Amendment was rolled up under FOPA, which is this other completely different animal. So simply repealing the NFA won't necessarily deal with the ramifications of the Hughes Amendment. So you really have to kind of get rid of both of them in order to cut the head off the beast, so to speak.
Let's give just a quick lesson on what we're talking about here. So the NFA, National Firearms Act, it covers all the fun toys that we love. Short barrel rifles, short barrel shotguns, suppressors, AOWs, any other weapons, all that sort of stuff, machine guns, whatever. All right, and then the Hughes Amendment was put through in FOPA, which was a good bill in itself, Firearms Owners Protection Act. But the Hughes Amendment was a little devil that was just dropped in there, like at the 11th hour, basically, and it was signed through. It was like, oh yeah, this is fine. And the Hughes Amendment basically forbid the new manufacture of machine guns. Prior to May of 1986, under the NFA, you could buy and register a new machine gun, okay, for $200, all right? And back then, that was a lot of money. Back in '34, it was a ton of money, okay? But the $200 tax has not increased with inflation over the years, and that's one reason why a lot of people have been getting into NFA, especially suppressors. And we'll talk about the HPA, the Hearing Protection Act, here in a little bit, but the Hughes Amendment, if it was gone, basically overnight, the value of transferable machine guns would go, but
there's a lot of folks that are definitely not okay with that.
No.
You got to consider there's a lot of guys who are loaded rich and have tons of money, and they probably own millions of dollars worth of machine guns, And they know that if a bill like that gets passed, or let's just say we get rid of all those rules, then their collections are not going to be worth anything. I can kind of understand both sides of the coin, because if you are a person that's lucky enough to have millions of dollars tied up in transferable machine guns that are highly valuable, you're probably viewing it as an investment and everything like that. But I think investing in the rights of Americans is more important.
I think so too.
Than
but most people that own machine guns that are transferable got into it before '86 when prices were reasonable. I mean, you could buy a Mac 10 or Mac 11 for $600. And you register, you got $800 tied up in it. Well, what are they now? $7,500.
Yeah, but $800 was a lot of money back in.
It was, but the value of those guns has increased exponentially because there's a finite supply of them. It's just a simple supply and demand equation.
To be fair, though, they didn't know that back then.
No, they didn't know
that was going to happen.
And the prices didn't go up right overnight after the Hughes Amendment was passed and all that mess. I mean, it didn't happen overnight. It happened over the course of several years. You know.
The thing we have to remember, too, is that, and I'm not discouraging anybody from signing the petition. You should totally go sign both of those petitions. If you look down the description box below, there's links to both the petitions. You can go sign if you want or whatever. I'm not discouraging anybody from signing the petition, but one thing I also want to try to push home is that the Hearing Protection Act is a very, very likely thing to happen. It is probably going to happen, okay? Just like there was a slow chipping away of our rights, our rights weren't taken away overnight. They weren't deprived of us overnight, but we're not going to get them back overnight either.
No,
there's going to be a slow recovery, just like there was a slow chipping away.
Yeah, I mean, it started in '34 with the National Firearms Act and the Gun Control Act, and then various other things, the Hughes Amendment. The '94 crime bill, which some states locally still have basically a crime bill on the books. I mean, California, Massachusetts, places like Maryland, I believe, like Delaware. They still have these type of laws.
Then you got the SAFE Act in New York and a lot of that kind of crap that's going on in it. And we're not going to get into all of those details. However, getting back to the gripe aspect of this video is that everybody wants to say, oh, we should sign this petition, or we should make it a ballot measure, or we could do this. But, just like the Gunmageddon in California, a lot of folks sat on their hands, and then guess what? There it was.
Well,
it just came and went.
Nobody
did anything.
Being on the outside and seeing all the activism that was present regarding trying to get rid of Gunmageddon, or at least fight it. The petitions that were going around and being signed. I mean, there were guys that went around to every single gun store in California and had days where they set up a table and had people sign this petition. And they came nowhere close to getting the signatures that they needed. And it just amazes me. You think about all the firearms owners in California, and they just sat on their hands and said, well, there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, come on.
I know.
Really?
But here's, I guess, the other edge of the coin, so to speak, is that, yes, this petition is important, and it's a very clear message that we're sending to President Trump. However, there's a different stratum going on right now in terms of the way things are working with politics now. We have a Republican-controlled House, Senate. We just got a new Supreme Court justice who is very moderate, if not very conservative.
Very conservative.
Which is great. And there's nothing wrong with that. And then, of course, Trump is obviously pro-gun. So I seriously doubt that there's going to be an issue of us having Trump's ear regardless. I don't think that it would require a petition in order to, for him to take action on something like that. I mean, he's claimed on multiple occasions that he wants to restore rights that have been denied. And, even Martin Luther King said, he said that a right delayed is a right denied. And that's the same exact thing. So you want to look at all of that, every side of the coin. I mean, I think that we're in the best position now to have the ear that we need. And we have Trump's attention, believe me. But the petition will definitely, I believe, facilitate that talk and help that talk. So I would definitely encourage people to get involved with that petition.
The biggest gripe that I have is that petition's been going around for a couple of weeks now, at least, if not longer than that. And it doesn't have 100,000 signatures already. I'm like, come on.
It should have 500,000.
I could not believe that. I mean, there's other petitions on whitehouse.gov right now that have way more signatures than that does. I'm like,
for far less important things. It's just really random, how certain, I'm not going to go out on this limb or anything, but, you look at, I guess, the liberals versus the conservatives, or you look at the left versus the right. I mean, no matter what side you're on, it doesn't matter. But if it's one thing that you can be sure of is the folks on the left, they're gonna do stuff. I mean, who riots and burns things down and protests, and they're not at work. I don't know what they do with their time, but they're not at work.
Don't even get me started on the women's.
They show up to all that. Of course they're gonna be there. Believe me.
Blocking traffic. I mean, dressing as vaginas in Washington.
Well, that being that what it is or whatever, all that aside,
that's activism.
The point is that they are going to, they're going to fight you tooth and nail. We have to be on the offensive now, and we have to fight for our rights. I mean, they've always been our rights. We've just been denied them. We have not known what it truly means to be a gun owner in the United States, and what it should be, what it used to be. And I'd like to see our country get back to the old days when things were like they used to be. It's just really random to think that we could have a resurgence of old America. And I'm not necessarily saying that it should be a resurgence in the standpoint of, all-out anarchy. But an armed society is a polite society.
My thing is, I didn't grow up really in the time like my parents did, where, my dad would ride to school with a 30-30 in his truck, because that was just the thing. I mean, you just rode to school with a gun in your truck. It wasn't a big deal.
Nobody cared.
Nobody cared. And guns weren't demonized like they are nowadays. It's just with the prevalence of just the bias in the media against firearms owners and guns themselves, inanimate objects, which are just tools, you just have this public sway all of a sudden. It's like, oh yeah, guns are bad. And that's the stigma. Guns are bad. If you use guns, you're bad too.
If people are spoon-fed a lie long enough, they'll start believing it. That's what happened. That is what has happened with gun rights. It started with all of this NFA crap going down, and then the Hughes Amendment, and it's like people think that everybody that owns a suppressor is an assassin, like in a movie, and and the only reason that you need to own a suppressor is to go around and assassinate people. So there's been this just really cultural thing.
Hollywood had part of that too.
Hollywood is to blame.
Hollywood had a big thing to deal with that too.
They are to blame for a lot of that, but there's also been a cultural change in the United States in recent years, and people are much more on the level of self-defense. Like, people have a self-defense mentality, a being prepared mentality, hey, we're not going to rely on someone else to protect us mentality. That self-defense mentality has never been stronger in this country than it is right now. Even back, okay, so let's just say during, the 70s and 80s or whatever, when you could, before the Hughes Amendment, and you could just buy machine guns, you didn't see people out there like, that were, I'm going to go buy a machine gun and go protect myself, or I'm going to buy this for protection. Or a lot of them were just enthusiasts that just wanted to have guns that were cool, and they wanted to have a neat thing to shoot or whatever.
It's the same thing nowadays,
Exactly.
I mean, like people like myself and Eric, we've been collecting guns for a long time, and the reason I got into NFA was because it was kind of the next thing for me. And, some people are concerned, you're getting an NFA, you're going to give the government all your information. Come on, really?
I mean, they can't find it anyway.
If you have a phone and an email address, they probably can get your information. Yeah. I mean, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, the whole NSA snooping and all, believe me, if they want to know what's going on, they could probably listen to this gripe right now before we even post it.
Probably, but
all right. I don't say anything that I wouldn't have a man in black listening to. You know what I mean? Well, not you.
Oh, okay.
But you know what I mean. Yeah, I mean like the Men in Black, like Tommy Lee Jones on this side of the wall right now. About to come in the door, and ask me some questions or something.
Oh, they're going to erase our minds. Right.
No, Will Smith will do that.
Oh, Will Smith will do it. Yeah,
He'll do it multiple times because he can't get a story straight. That's okay though.
Who are you?
Yeah, exactly.
My biggest thing is, gun rights. They're not just a conservative issue. Gun rights are across the aisle. I mean, the right to own and bear a firearm is given, by a higher power. It wasn't bestowed on you by the federal government. I mean, the Second Amendment is just, it's just saying that right exists, and you are going to, or we're going to protect it, and it is your right. It's not giving you that right. It already exists.
You're born with it.
And it doesn't matter if you're conservative, liberal, moderate, extreme, whatever. You have the right to own a firearm and bear that firearm or not. It's your choice. But do not demonize gun owners as some bane of the existence of the United States. I mean, it's like, oh well, America, a bunch of gun owners, there's just cowboys going around shooting everybody up. It's like Old West, Give me a break. Come on.
Well, like back during World War II, the Japanese thought that we're all a bunch of cowboys.
Yeah.
Like that, they literally, like to this day, if you ask a Japanese person, like what most Americans are like, they're like,
cowboy.
oh, Marlboro man.
Marlboro man.
Or, whatever, like they think we're cowboys, and they just don't get it. Most of us are just average guys and everything like that. So hopefully this video struck a nerve, maybe go over there and sign that petition, get involved. All right, if there's something going on locally that doesn't affect the whole United States, well, actually, I'll take that back. Everything affects us all. If you sat on your hands during Gunmageddon in California, or if you're sitting back and taking what's going on with the SAFE Act in New York and all that bullcrap going on, you have to fight it tooth and nail because you're fighting our fight as well. We are all fighting the same fight.
Yeah.
Every victory at a local level is still going to affect all of us.
I will say, with the bans and restrictions on a local state level that are coming down the pipeline, they really suck. I mean, they really do suck. It sucks for gun owners to have to deal with that kind of crap. However, there is some really, really awesome innovation in the firearms industry to help combat that. Like some of the new designs for ARs that are coming out in California, so you don't have to register your assault weapon. I mean, awesome, innovative stuff. I mean, people are just so creative to just wiggle around these laws and just kind of give a big you-know-what to these government officials who are just feeding this stuff down people's throats. It's just, or shoving it down their throats. It's just insane.
I think that we're going to see maybe not an end, but a definite kind of woosah, calm down. We're going to see a little bit of a calming of the nanny state. And I think that everybody is tired of the nanny state. Under Obama, it just seems like it was just nanny this and nanny that, and we know what's good for you, and do as we say, not as we do. And the nanny state has gotten very, very old, and Americans are tired of it. And I think that we're going to have a definite laxing of the nanny state, and people are going to be held accountable for their actions. But I hope that people will get their true liberties and responsibilities in their everyday life back. I mean, being a responsible citizen in this country, understanding when you screw up, you get in trouble. If you want something, you have to give something in return. You don't accept something without doing something in return. You don't ask for help if you don't need help. I mean, not taking advantage of your fellow man and your citizens. I mean, being responsible, being a contributing member to society.
How about growing a pair and being able to deal with people who don't agree with you in other ways and pitching a big hissy fit?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
And like Madonna threatening to blow up the White House.
Really?
I mean, come on.
Hey, I got something.
That's not mature at all.
I got something for the nanny state.
Oh, that's nanny territory right there. But
that's cute. So, you want to talk about NFA? This is not NFA. This is a pistol.
Well, the suppressor's NFA.
Oh, the suppressor's NFA, but this is a pistol brace.
That's not an SBR.
That's not an SBR. That's a pistol brace. So, shoot it from the cheek, shoot it from the chest. You have people out there who have to get permission for everything. And, the recent ATF opinion letter about pistol braces came about because people asking, oh, is it okay if I build this? And if I don't want to build an SBR, but I want to build this with a pistol brace on it. Is that okay? Like Nike, just do it.
The thing is too, a lot of these types of rules and these little bullcrap things that come about, it's kind of like being in school and asking the teacher, can we chew bubble gum in class? Well,
just do it.
Why ask? Just do it, and don't stick it up under the desk, because that's all they care about. They don't want you sticking bubble gum under the desk or sticking it in the girl's hair next to you or some stupid crap like that, which I'm not going to admit to having done either of those. But it only takes one to ruin it for everybody. So you just do what you're going to do and be responsible about it, and don't tell anybody. How hard is that?
Well, not bubblegum, but I used to eat Skittles in band. So me and a buddy of mine would be sitting there. We'd have Skittles laid out across our music stand, and we'd be like, played euphonium, like da-da-da-da.
I knew something was wrong with you.
And that sticky stuff got all in there, and it pissed them off, but they never knew.
There you go. He's a criminal. Felons, all of them.
I don't miss school.
Yeah. Well, guys, we hope that this video was taken well. We hope it provoked some thought. Get over there and sign that petition. It only takes a second. And make sure you have to verify your email and everything. When I did it, I was like, wait a minute, what in the heck's going on here? And then I realized, oh, you have to actually go and verify your email. It's not a big deal, guys. It takes just a few minutes of your time.
Literally.
Go over there and sign both of those petitions. Please do it. If you don't do anything else today, do that.
And the HPA has been reintroduced, okay, for this year, for this legislative session. You need to contact your local representatives and voice your support for the Hearing Protection Act. This will remove suppressors from the NFA registry and allow them to be transferred just like a firearm. Now, some people have a big stink with that. I don't care. If I can go into a gun store and buy a suppressor on a 4473 just like a firearm, I am for it. Hey, whatever.
That's right.
But
don't sit on your hands, guys. All right, so we have to stay vigilant. Remember to support the NRA at every turn. I'm a wholehearted supporter of the NRA. I believe that everybody that owns a gun in the United States should be a member. It's very, very important to support them in their efforts. They are the largest lobbying group. They do care about all of us, and they're doing a fine job over there of taking care of all of us and doing the best they can to rally the troops.
And keeping people informed. I mean, that's one of the biggest things, too.
That's right. Well, look, guys, I appreciate the support. Thanks for watching. We got more gun gripes on the way, and make sure you go over there and check out those petitions. We'll see you soon.